down on power lines.
I didn't have any like gloves or anything.
Yeah, what do you do?
We
I
are
had
not
socks.
prepared. We are not prepared for
I put
that.
socks on my hands.
I would not be prepared if it happened again, because since I've lived in Minnesota, like all of that stuff is gone.
All the
Right.
heavy weather gear is
So,
gone. Well,
it's
you
all
didn't need it
gone.
today. It was 77
No.
degrees for
Yeah.
a
We
high.
needed like water wings. It was so soggy outside.
you could swim through the air today. We're going to have to deal with that for the next several days before some big changes. And finally, that cold front we have been talking about finds its way onto our 7-day forecast. We'll get to that in just a moment. Fog is going to be an issue again overnight tonight and really by late this evening. Buras is already down to 0 visibility. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the newscast, a lot of the fog really didn't dissipate until after about noon. So the fog advisory for tomorrow is extended until 11 a.m. So certainly through the morning and maybe even toward the lunch hour, will we still have the fog to contend with? Right now, not an issue, with the exception down at Buras, but mostly clear skies. That'll allow those temperatures to start dropping. And as that humidity gets or as the temperature gets closer to the dew point, humidity rises and the fog will form. Easterly winds right now at about 5 miles an hour. Today's high, really because we kept that low cloudiness or fog around into the almost afternoon hours, it prevented many locations from getting into the 80s. So 77 is where we topped out, still well above average, but hey, it's a little bit of relief. We're in the 70s across most of the area with a few upper 60s already showing up. Those locations are getting close to the dew point values, which means the humidity is even higher. Winds kind of all over the place, and expect fairly light winds during the overnight period. Again, high pressure still dominant, not only at the surface, but in the upper levels. That is keeping a front that is 2 hour north. Not going to see anything happen until this weekend with a little, you kind of see this almost hard to decipher, this little kink in the upper atmosphere. This is a weak upper disturbance that's going to send that first kind of weak front in, bringing us a chance for some showers and storms on Sunday. What I'm looking forward to is this big upper level trough that is going to bring in some cold air. But before that happens, with this upper system, we are going to see a chance for severe weather. Now, as we go beyond the days 1, 2, and 3 from the Storm Prediction Center, we kind of get these more generic severe weather forecasts. So it's not exactly the slight, moderate, high risk for severe weather. It just starts highlighting areas where we could see some severe storms kind of beyond the 3-day forecast where the confidence is growing. So Monday into Tuesday, risk of severe weather associated with that system over North Texas. That spreads and increases Tuesday going into Wednesday morning. Still uncertain exactly what type of severe threat we're going to see here, but it does look like another focus for severe storms 2 hour north with that upper energy and the cold front associated with it. And we will begin to tap into this cold Arctic air that'll finally start making its way out of Canada and well across much of the nation. But what is interesting with this system is that this is not a deep upper trough that is bringing that air mass straight south. If you'll notice, in the upper atmosphere, we're going to have a west to east flow. The fact that we're tapping into cold Arctic air is the reason why that cold air is going to be spreading into the deep south, because the upper pattern really doesn't favor that, because this west to east flow doesn't really help to drive down the cold Arctic temperatures. But the fact that we're going to see that air mass moving south is all kind of the forcing that we need to get our temperatures to drop. Now, if that were to have a more deepening of the trough, we would be looking at it likely more sub-freezing temperatures. Doesn't look like we'll be getting quite that cold, but the likelihood continues to increase of temperatures through next week, staying below average after about Wednesday. So warm, humid. There's that disturbance bringing in a chance for storms on Sunday. Some spotty showers Monday and Tuesday. A stormy day on Wednesday, then temperatures dropping, and finally we start to feel more like December by next Thursday.